Yes. I also believe a part of the solution is also awareness. How do we get aware about all of this? And I want to ask everybody here, because all of you are distinguished members in your field. For someone who's listening to this out there, how do we make them aware of stuff like this, like the knowledge that you have, with something like this? What do we read to? Oh, sorry about that. What do we read? What do we watch? I also want to come to you, all of you also as well, in terms of the kind of media you consume, because I feel ultimately we are an amalgamation of the media that we consume, So if you had to give us, say, a few Netflix recommendations or some recommendations of things we can watch, creators we can follow, because today, a large amount of our thought process is influenced by influencers or content creators, and some of them are great with what they say, So, do you have any recommendations on the whole, through mainstream media, art, journalism, anyone that we can follow? What are your recommendations to get ourselves a little more aware?
I would actually like to talk about how we can bring about change. No? Before recommendation, I would like to say there are two things that we can do. One is unlearning a lot of things that we innocently have learned and have been practicing since a long time. And the other thing is getting rid of the savior syndrome. So who has the privileges? Who gives the platforms? They also come up with like, oh, we are so inclusive. We are something. Sometimes we are just asked to come up as a token. But the credit goes to those who are asking them to step up and come to our platforms and make our platforms inclusive. So that's a very problematic thing. Again, with an example, I'll talk about this. I wrote a news piece after the Hathras incident on what goes wrong in reporting about caste oppression or caste atrocities. So the whole piece where, the whole news report where caste angle is there is made completely about the victims. And we have a very bad culture that we have adopted is victim blaming or like glorifying the victim. And in the headline only, the victims are highlighted. It's like Dalit Utpeedan. Rape or murder of a Dalit or beaten to death. And who goes into the guilt? Who is exposed? The community who is victim, the community who is been going through all these things, and it definitely hampers to their mental health. We never come up with a headline shaming the perpetrators, shaming the ones who like, have we ever heard any such news where Thakurs did this to this community? We never. So why we are doing, and when I wrote this piece, the piece was good and like went to all people, but I was not happy with the title they gave to the series was Passing on the Mic. So like you are again tagging me, the writer who has written what goes wrong, and you are tagging me, my caste. So whenever, like if we ask for artists to come up on stage, we are like, these are the three artists, this is a Dalit artist. So tagging, of course that is their identity and they'll definitely introduce themselves. But tagging is something that is very problematic, and those who do that still have to learn about getting rid of the savior syndrome. Yeah, thank you.